You ever have one of those dreams where you're running, but your legs feel like lead? Where you know you're in danger, but you can't wake up? That's how it started for me. The first time I saw him, I was 17. Welcome to Nightmare on the 13th. And this month, we are reimagining A Nightmare on Elm Street and A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Tonight, I want to tell you about a dream, the kind that grabs hold of you in your sleep and doesn't let go. The kind where you're not sure what's real anymore. Some say nightmares are just the brain's way of processing fear. But what if something is waiting in those nightmares? Watching, hunting, waiting for you to fall asleep. This is the story of a girl named Erin, and the man who came for her in the dark. The first time I saw him, I didn't think he was real. I thought it was just a dream, a really messed up dream. I was in an alleyway. Everything was dim. The walls stretched so high they blocked out the stars. It was damp, wet. My feet slapped against slick concrete, and I thought I heard crying or maybe laughing. Then the alley turned, and there was this door. It was old and rusted, just barely open. Inside was light, flickering orange like fire. I stepped through, and suddenly I was somewhere else, a boiler room. Pipes hissed from every wall. The heat was unbearable, like breathing in smoke, and that's when I heard a scraping sound. Slow, deliberate, like something was waiting. And then I saw him, wearing a tattered red and green sweater, a filthy fedora, and his skin was burned, like it had melted and hardened again. And on one hand he wore a glove, with long rusted blades for fingers. He tilted his head at me and smiled. "You can't wake up," he whispered, "because this is where you live now." I screamed and woke up from this terrible dream, heart hammering, sheets soaked in sweat, but no blood, no knife, no him. It was just a dream, or at least that's what I told myself. The next morning, I tried to brush it off. Stress, lack of sleep, I hadn't been eating right, you know how it is. But when I got to school, I saw Jenny, sitting alone, pale and her eyes wide. I went up to her and I asked her what was wrong. She looked up to me and her voice sounded like sandpaper, asking me if I saw him too. The man with the glove and the knives. My blood froze. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. She already knew. And then Greg said it too, and so did Lisa. 4 of us, all having the same nightmare of the same man in the same place, in that same damn boiler room. This couldn't be a coincidence. We skipped school that day and we went to the library. It's an old school. We didn't have anything really to do with online learning. When we tried to find something at the library, nothing came up. Just ghost stories and urban legends. But the library had records, old clippings and microfilm. And that is where we found him. Freddy Krueger. Back in the 60s, he had lived in our own town of Springwood. He was a janitor and worked in a preschool. Until kids started going missing. Dozens of them. The police found bones in his basement. Tiny bones, children's shoes, and burned clothes. But there wasn't enough evidence, so the courts let him walk on a technicality. But that night, a group of parents tracked him to an old boiler room, and they burned him alive. But Freddy didn't stay dead. He came back. Not in the flesh, but in our dreams. Jenny said he couldn't hurt us if we didn't believe in him. But Greg said belief is what gave him power, kind of like a parasite. The more we feared him, the stronger he got. So we all together just stopped talking about him, tried to forget him, but it didn't work. He came back anyway, in the dark, in our sleep. And when you're in his world, the rules don't matter. He can bend them, break them, kill you. And if you die in the dream, you die for real. Greg was the first to go. He was always the tough one, the skeptic. He laughed at us and said we were being dramatic about this whole thing. Then one morning, he didn't show up for class. By lunchtime, the news was out. He'd been found dead in his bed, eyes wide open, face frozen in terror, like he'd seen something that no one should ever see. And the weirdest part? There were deep cuts along his chest, like claw marks. But his room was locked from the inside. No sign of forced entry, just blood and silence. I stopped sleeping from that point on. Took cold showers, drank tons of black coffee, popped caffeine pills, and listened to loud music. Anything I could do to stay awake. But sleep always wins in the end. And when I finally passed out, I was back there, in the boiler room. Pipes groaning, heat pressing down like a fist, and him. He lunged at me and I felt it. The heat, the blades, the pain. Then I woke up screaming. I looked down on my arm and I saw that it was bleeding, with 3 thin scratches across my skin. But I was all alone in my room. How could this be happening? I talked to Lisa and she said we had to fight back. She'd been researching lucid dreaming, a way to control your dreams and become aware inside them. If we could take control, maybe we could trap him, or even drag him out into our world, where he could bleed like the rest of us. Lisa decided to go under first. We watched her in her room, set a timer for 20 minutes, and if she wasn't awake by then we would wake her up. But she started thrashing 10 minutes in, then bleeding right there in the bed. She was screaming something we couldn't hear. So we shook her, screamed her name. She opened her eyes and took one last breath, and she was gone, just like that. It was only me and Jenny left now. We made a pact that one of us would go under and the other would keep watch. So I volunteered. I don't know why, but maybe because I was tired of being afraid. Maybe because I wanted to face it, once and for all. So I laid down on Jenny's bed, closed my eyes, and drifted to sleep. I opened them again, and there I was in the dream. In the same place, with the same heat, and the same sounds. But this time, I was ready. I screamed into the dark, and the world shifted. The pipes bent around me and gravity twisted. And all of a sudden, there he was, leaning against the wall with that crooked grin stretching across his face. "What's the matter?" he said, "Not happy to see me?" I didn't answer. I ran at him, grabbed his arm, held on tight, and screamed for Jenny to wake me up. He slashed at my back and I felt the pain, but I held on for dear life, and everything around me shattered. I woke up gasping and screaming, blood soaked through my shirt, with 3 deep cuts across my back. But I was alive, and Freddy was gone, at least for now. They never found proof. Not of Freddy, not of the dreams, not of what really happened. Just broken kids, and one survivor, me. But sometimes when I close my eyes, I still hear it. The hiss of steam, the scrapes of blades, and I wonder, what if he's not actually dead? What if he's just waiting for someone else to dream about him? And when I thought the nightmare was over, I realized that dreams don't die that easily, especially not when he's still waiting behind your eyes. And somewhere out there, in a place not quite asleep and not quite awake, a new group of kids is about to learn the truth. You can't escape him alone, but maybe, just maybe, you can fight back, together. After the events that I had experienced, I was put into a psychiatric hospital called Westgate. They told me I was just having nightmares. Residual trauma, they said, sleep paralysis and night terrors. Said I'd be safe here in Westgate Psychiatric. But you can't lock out a dream. You sure as hell can't lock out Freddy Krueger. He found me the first night, just like always. That same boiler room, that same smile. And I tried to fight, I tried to wake up, but it didn't work. When I eventually woke up, I woke up screaming, with claw marks on my arm and blood all over it. The nurse said I did it to myself, but the other patients? Well, they knew better. There were 6 of us in the adolescent ward. All teens, all scarred, all of us having the same dreams of Freddy Krueger. There was Mikey, who hadn't spoken in weeks, just drew pictures of a man with knives for fingers. Then there was Danielle, who slept with a Bible under her pillow, and she still got attacked anyway. Then there was Becca, the one who said we weren't crazy, who knew that he was real and he was hunting us. She called him the Dream Demon, said he was trapped in the dream world, but he could kill in it. And she believed that there was a way we could fight back, together. Becca talked about the time where me and my friends had figured out how we can learn to fight inside of our dreams. We could shape the world, bend it, and weaponize it. She called us dream warriors. At first, I didn't believe her, not until Mikey died. They found him hanging from the ceiling in his room. No rope, no furniture disturbed, just suspended, as if someone had lifted him up in the air and held him there. The security footage also showed nothing, but we knew what happened. Freddy got to him. So I started training everyone alongside Becca. We'd meditate before bed, set intention, picture our strengths. Danielle imagined herself with angel wings and a flaming sword. Then there was Milo, quiet nerdy Milo, who saw himself as a tech god, able to summon machines. But me, I didn't know what I was. Not yet. But the first time we tried it, the dream felt different. It was more vivid, more controlled. And that's when we heard it. A shrill metal scrape. And a voice from the shadows that said, "I see you've been doing your homework. Class is in session." And out from the shadows stepped Freddy. We didn't run. Instead, we stood our ground. Danielle flew at him with a flaming sword, sliced clean through his side. He laughed and called it a cute trick. Then his blades went through her stomach. In the real world, she coughed up blood in her sleep, completely flatlined. We had lost Danielle. Becca screamed and dragged the rest of us out of the dream. We woke up shaking, broken, but alive. The next night, I dreamed alone. No boiler room this time. I was in the hallway of the psych ward, but the walls were bleeding. The lights flickered red, and Freddy was there, waiting, telling me that I'm not one of them, and I don't belong here. I ran, and he chased me down a stairwell that never ended, until I stopped and closed my eyes, and I pictured something I hadn't in years. My bedroom. My childhood bedroom. It was warm, safe, sunlight through the curtains, and when I opened my eyes, I was there. I had shaped the dream. I turned. Freddy was confused, disoriented, and I hit him, sent him flying across the room. I woke up this time laughing. Becca said I'd unlocked it, my dream power. We all had one buried deep within us, and the key was belief. But now we had a plan. We'd face Freddy together, lure him in, hold him, and destroy him. But we needed to find his weakness. So we broke into the records room, found a file dusty and old. Inside of it was a birth certificate that said Frederick Charles Krueger, born in Springwood Asylum. His mother apparently had been a nun. She was raped by inmates, a child born of pure evil. He had no father, no past, just rage, and a birthplace, the asylum. So we decided that's where we were going to fight him. We all coordinated and fell asleep at the same time, shared the same dream. When we fell asleep, the walls around us began to twist, and the sky tore apart, and we were there, the ruins of Springwood Asylum. They were burned and blackened, with screams echoing from every hallway. And there he was, Freddy Krueger. He came and attacked us, but Becca summoned vines from the floor and Milo hacked dream circuits to trap him. I conjured fire, a A pure white flame blasted it at his chest. Freddy roared, but it wasn't enough. He laughed through the fire, saying you can't kill what's already dead. He grabbed Milo and slashed his throat. Becca ran at him, screaming for me to pull the plug. She tackled Freddy into a pit of fire, and they both vanished. When I woke up, I was screaming and all alone. Becca never woke up. Neither did Milo. 3 of us entered that dream, but only one of us came out. They told me it was survivor's guilt. Said I must have imagined the rest of this. But I know what happened. I remember every second. Becca was right. Freddy can be fought, but not alone. And he's still out there in the corners of your sleep, waiting. But when he comes for me again, I'll be ready. Because I'm not just a survivor. I'm a warrior. And that was the man in the boiler room for this one's Nightmare on 13th episode. Freddy may be gone for now, but nightmares like him never truly die. They wait in the shadows, in the silence, and in the places no one else dares to look. If you liked what you heard tonight, be sure to follow, like, subscribe at Cabin of Horrors, whatever platform you're listening to this on, and leave us a review if you're brave enough. And remember, the next time you close your eyes, he might be waiting. Sleep tight, Dream Warriors. We'll see you next time in the dark.